Aristotle was not just a philosopher. He was a scientist, an astronomer, and a political genius. To me, he's the smartest man who ever lived. I know that's an extraordinarily bold statement, but I'm ready to back it up. Here we go. Aristotle's achievements in Western thought are unrivaled. He wasn't just a philosopher, as I said. He was a Renaissance man about 2,000 years before the Renaissance. He wrote on the following subjects: biology, psychology, ethics, physics, metaphysics, and politics. And not only did he write about them, he also set up terms for how to study and debate these, which we still use into modern times. His writings on justice are still required readings for undergrads throughout the world in law school. After his death, his works were lost for hundreds of years, but fortunately they were rediscovered. By the Middle Ages, Aristotle was almost totally forgotten by scholars. Thankfully, his influence spread through the Islamic Caliphate, and as Christian Europe had forgotten him, the Muslim world had reignited their enthusiasm for Aristotelian thought. The main person who brought him into modern times, or I should say in medieval times, was Thomas Aquinas. He made the biggest impact on Aristotelian thought of anyone in history besides Aristotle himself. Here's some background on Aristotle. He received his education from Plato's Academy. He stayed under Plato's tutelage for 20 years until Plato died. Later, he found his own institution called the Lyceum, where he would make a philosophy that's both borrowed from Plato and extremely different from Plato. The main difference between Plato and Aristotle is that Plato thinks everything comes from a realm above. Basically, in a world of forms, you can kind of think of it as from God or from heaven or something like that. Whereas Aristotle thought all the answers to all the important questions could be found here on earth. So Aristotle, he's not religious, but he could be almost considered the patron saint of the scientific method. You could almost say he's more of a scientist than a philosopher, because he found the best way to find things out is by observation and studying. Sounds a lot like the modern world to me. For this reason, he's considered the father of empirical study, which is another way of saying it. I'm gonna have to make a much longer video on Aristotle next time, but I'll leave you with this thought. If there's one thing that puts together all of Aristotle's work, it's that every single thing in the world has a purpose, and it works towards some goal. He thought that every single thing could be explained, and that's so exhilarating for me to hear, and hopefully for you to hear, that whatever the most impossible thing you can think of, if you really go step by step and start from first principles, you might be able to make a breakthrough. Believing in Aristotle, let me rephrase that, it has nothing to do with belief. Following Aristotle's lead is the best way to lead a true, wonderful life. And I purposely use the word true, because as long as you can prove something, then you can back it up and have true purpose in every single thing you do. I wish you the best life possible. Thanks so much for watching. If you're into this kind of content, my channel is the place to be.